Hi, SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, March 26th with an update on the NASA ATRES experiment. This is the Anomalous Transport Rocket Experiment that is set to study very, very strong upper level winds way up in the atmosphere, some 60 to 65 miles above the Earth's surface, way above the conventional jet stream that is often talked about in weather forecasts. This particular mission has been scheduled for numerous times in the past couple of weeks and postponed due to low clouds and fog. The basic design of the experiment is to launch 5 different rockets from Wallops Island, Virginia, about 80 seconds apart within a 5-minute period or so, and they will release chemical tracers way up in the atmosphere, and these chemical tracers will generate white milky clouds that can be monitored by different cameras, 3 different cameras along the mid-Atlantic coast. One camera will be in South Jersey, another camera situated right at Wallops Island itself, and finally a third camera down at the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Therefore, clear skies are needed for this thing to go off successfully, clear skies from New Jersey all the way down to North Carolina, and I think the odds finally favor strongly clear skies late tonight. And right now the time frame for this particular launching of these rockets by NASA will be in the 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. window, very late tonight, early tomorrow, and they'll fine-tune that later on today into the evening hours based on the weather conditions. Speaking of the weather, let's take a look. Here is the North American mesoscale forecast for clouds for this evening, and all this gray area, this is forecast by the NAM model to be clouds out in the middle of the country. But notice, forecast is for clear skies, and I think it will be clear up and down the East Coast thanks to this strong cold front that is whipping through the Mid-Atlantic region right now. That'll usher in some clear conditions. However, winds will be quite gusty, and that is one potential fly in the ointment, is that the low-level winds at Wallops Island will be quite gusty, perhaps up to 30 miles per hour or so, and that has a slight chance of causing a postponement. But the sky should cooperate, and I think odds are better than 50-50 that this thing will go off early tomorrow morning. Here's a nice graphical display of what to expect later on tonight. First of all, these green dots right here in South Jersey, Wallops Island itself in southeastern Virginia, and in over the Outer Banks of North Carolina. These are where the cameras will be located, and again, clear skies are needed at all 3 sites for this thing to go off successfully. The red dots over the water right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, show exactly where these rockets will release the chemical tracers to watch how these winds blow these milky white clouds that will develop. And these clouds should be visible well up into the I-95 corridor in areas like Washington, Philadelphia, and New York City for about 20 minutes or so after the release of the chemical tracer material that will help to generate these clouds. And again, they can be visible up to 20 minutes or so, and the rockets themselves could cause quite a light show when they are launched, again, in that 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. window. Well, what will these clouds look like? Well, this is an example here of the same sort of experiment that occurred over Alaska in 2009. Chemical tracers were released way up in the atmosphere, and this is an example of a tracer cloud that developed, and it obviously kind of looks different than any normal looking cloud. So this is something that may should develop later on tonight, again in that 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. window, and be visible at least for 20 minutes or so in much of the Mid-Atlantic region. It'll certainly look different than any normal looking cloud. Well, one final graph here from NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. This is showing the areas that the clouds may be visible, and it goes all the way up to about the New York City region, which is here, Philadelphia here, and Washington, D.C. region here. These are the trajectories of the 5 different rockets that, again, will release this chemical tracer, and the purpose is for the chemical tracers to be blown along by these super fast upper level winds that blow about 300 miles per hour or so, 60 to 65 miles above the Earth. So this will give us some better understanding of these very high altitude super strong winds. So that's the update. It should go off later on tonight, and at least the clouds should depart, and skies should finally cooperate here along the Mid-Atlantic coast. Again, the window right now is 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. for the NASA ATREX mission to go off. So that's it for now. For the SIweather.com, I'm the SI meteorologist, Paul Dorian.